The FIA has moved to clarify the new regulations that appear to limit the free speech of Formula 1 drivers. In this video, we will talk about what is banned and what isn't, and the penalties that drivers might face. The governing body caused a stir by ratifying changes to the International Sporting Code late last year that would demand written consent to be provided to make a political, religious, and personal statement or comment. This marked a significant departure from previous iterations of the ISC that only mentioned that Formula 1 teams aren't allowed to put up anything political or religious in nature or something that is prejudicial to the interests of the FIA on cars. The changes led to widespread criticism from F1 drivers such as Mercedes driver and Grand Prix Drivers Association director George Russell, who labeled it silly and unnecessary at the team's 2023 launch this week. Now the FIA has issued guidance to clarify what is clamping down on drivers making such statements and where drivers will be allowed to make them. The guidelines say that the focus at any international competition must remain on motorsport and on the performances of teams and drivers. It also goes on to say that F1 should not be used as a platform for individual advocacy. This principle also aims to prevent participants from being placed in a position where they may be forced to take a public position on a particular domestic or international issue when they would prefer not to do so. The guidance says drivers can express their views on any political, religious, or personal matter before, during, or after an event, and they can do so in their own space. The FIA lists social media, interviews with accredited media, and FIA press conferences as examples of a driver's own space. Drivers can only speak about political or religious statements if asked direct questions from journalists. Drivers are also not allowed to make such statements during activities on the track, such as the driver's parade, or during pre- or post-race procedures like the podium, cool-down room, or the start and end of season group photos. That's unless the FIA grants the driver an exemption on an exceptional and case-by-case basis, and applications must be made at least 4 weeks in advance unless under exceptional circumstances. Despite the various clarifications, it is not yet clear whether driver helmet designs or symbols on cars that display things like the colors of the pride flag will be considered a potential breach of the new regulations. The stewards of that particular Grand Prix will determine whether a statement or comment is political, religious, or personal. The guidelines also include a non-exhaustive list of potential scenarios that could be prohibited by the new rules. This list is just a guide, with the stewards needing to carefully assess the specific circumstances of each potential contravention when assessing whether a breach of the regulations has occurred. Some penalties that drivers may face include a warning, a reprimand, a fine, an obligation to accomplish some work of public interest, disallowance or deletion of a driver's race, qualifying and practice lap times, grid position drops, pit lane start, time penalty, drop of places in the classification of the competition, drive-through penalty, or a stop-and-go penalty. Examples of banned political statements include references to any politically associated or politically sensitive persons living or dead, as well as political parties, national governments, separatist movements, political or military conflicts, or any specific political acts or events. For religious statements, the FIA outlaws references to a religion, spiritual practice, or related significant figure, or anything critical of or hostile to others' religious or spiritual beliefs. Personal statements are defined as simply any circumstance personal to the participant are also banned. The guidelines state any potential breach should be reported to the race director, who will in turn inform the stewards. So do you think F1 should ban drivers from having a right of speech? Let me know in the comments below. Now check out how Mercedes could change their sidebar design by clicking on this video.